Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Litchfield Capital Improvement Planning Committee meeting of November 7th, 2022. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'll do a roll call of members. Christina, if you want to start, and then I'll go down the...
Oh, there we go.
This way.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Christine Harrison, I am the school board representative.
Pete Stone, citizen rep.
Kimberly Queenan, Selectmen's Rep.
Carrie Douglas, Budget Committee Rep.
Michael Croto, Planning Board, and Chair.
Marion Colby, Citizens Rep.
Jay Mancara, NRPC.
Kim Kleiner, Town Administrator.
Doug Totten, School Admin Rep.
Welcome. Okay, great. First item on the agenda is item B, is public input. Is there any public input this evening before we get started? Okay, hearing none, I will close public input, and we will go on to item C, which is the approval of the October 25th, 2022 minutes. Did everybody have an opportunity to take a look at those? Have any questions, concerns? And if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Queen made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right. Ms. Harrison, any further discussion? All those in favor of the approval of the October 25th, 2022 minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstained?
Aye.
Okay.
I was late.
I was absent.
Motion passes. 3-0-2. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, great. Agenda item E is updates from department heads. Kim, did you, Ms. Kleiner, did you want to start by giving us an update on the library, or Dr. Queenan? I did see an email from them.
She did, yes. She emailed us up just a little while ago
Okay.
to let us know what the Board of Trustees, one includes indoor security,
Send the right one.
exterior security cameras, replace a parking lot, and shelving in the children's room, and to replace upper-level service desk to be ADA compliant. So I guess you could say one's security-related, well, two is irrigation and carpeting, not sure how those go together, but, and three is furniture of some sort, fixtures.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I know they did, I think they mentioned that they're still getting quotes.
Yeah, that would be the next question. is like,
Yeah, I was gonna
what
ask
are-
that too, 'cause
that's
there's no
nice,
numbers.
but
There's no numbers.
Yeah.
It says around.
Right, and
It's never good.
well, no. Did we want to put them, I mean, I don't know, our time is limited. They said maybe coming in at the next meeting.
I think we have
I thought it
planning
was-
board next,
they were
right?
supposed to come here tonight, I thought.
Well, that was the plan,
Yeah,
yes.
I think we're out of time.
Oh, we've got the 50,000 in,
But do we know that, what if it comes in at like 35?
right? Because well, I mean, that's a good point, because we've got it under the ARPA funds, so if they're not gonna use 50, then they could go to,
Right, they could be reallocated somewhere else.
Right.
Like, so numbers would have been nice.
I mean, that's what we asked for originally, right?
Yes.
To get estimates and get it, you know, to group it, but we still need to allocate or at least identify the monies.
Okay. Yeah, because I have her, this is from November 7th. This is to Kim Queenan. Oh, it's from Donna Ferguson. We've had some delays in getting our quotes, so at this time I don't have anything to present. We won't be attending the CIP tonight. When is the next meeting, Donna Ferguson?
Next year.
Tonight.
Tonight.
It's tonight.
Okay.
I mean, can we put the funds on there and just push it out into another year and then we can readdress it in
Well,
a
because you don't have to
amendment?
allocate them by the end of the year, right? Or the end of next
No,
year?
well, I mean, if it gets projected outside of 23, then if they come in early next year, then we can adjust. Or do we just drop it off or just put a note on there that they presented at the beginning and then we'll deal with the fundage at that point? Because, I mean, we're running out of time to do
Right,
this.
no, I understand that, yeah.
So I'm just figuring out alternative ways so we can say, yes, they did something, but we can't plug it in completely because we don't know what it is. Or at least we can't back up the number they're giving us.
Right.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, I suppose we could keep it as a, for now, placeholder or whatever, and,
Well, so now we've got it plugged in, so there's really, there's two questions. One, now we've got it under ARPA. So you could leave it that way, or you could decide, to reallocate those
I mean,
funds. It doesn't have to be under ARPA. It could come in,
but if
as
we
it was
don't leave it
origin-
there, then it's gotta go to warrant, right?
Does the library get impact fees?
Yes.
So how much, do we know what they have in their account? Oh, cause they use they use that for the, structure.
Right.
Yes.
They did.
But presumably there's gonna be more, since I keep hearing of all these developments that are on the horizon,
Presumably.
so there is a potential that some of these could be impact fees at some point even too. Well, I guess adding an irrigation system might be, but maybe not replacing shelving. I think you'd have to figure out what is
Right.
expansion of
Right.
services.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Security stuff should be covered there.
It's
right?
just, I find it frustrating that we've been talking about this date for months, and
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
we're
they
gonna
were one of
hold
the first
other
ones in.
departments accountable for not providing information
Yeah.
across the line, is like, come on.
Right. And they were one of the first people we spoke to.
Right.
so do we wanna just leave it in the,
So if we allocate 50 and it comes in at, say, 35, we still have time next year to allocate the additional, whatever is underspent, correct?
Yes, because you've got till,
You could move it.
Yeah, you could move it later.
So potentially you could say,
What's the date, though?
2024?
24, yeah.
Oh, it's
December.
to just allocate it or to actually use it?
Well,
Because I remember there's 2 dates,
So it
right?
has to be entirely spent by 2026?
Or
Okay, so it's
encumbered.
24 and
Right.
26.
yeah, spent or encumbered.
I mean,
By what date?
you know,
I don't like this.
I'm having some,
It's
trust issues
December
with getting the
31st,
numbers
2024,
right.
You've got to encumber
I
it.
just don't know what to do with it.
Do we honestly think that this is gonna be $50,000 worth of work? Like, how,
That's what we need the estimates for, right? I mean, we can guess all day long. I'm more concerned with, if we can't get the estimates and we can't tie it to the work completion, then
yeah.
we just burned 50 grand that could have gone somewhere else, right? That's kind of my issue.
Oh, that's true, because if we have to submit the receipts and everything, and then we get like, oh, sorry, that wasn't a valid expense.
Right,
Give us our money back.
right.
We're screwed.
well, I mean, what's the will of the,
So they appear to have around 9,400 in impact fees, looking at the list.
Well, I mean, maybe we just leave it on there and then we'll just
I don't.
put a note on it for first thing
It's not
2023
enough to do any of this.
to
really.
readdress,
Yeah.
because it's not gonna get changed now
Okay.
after tonight, right?
That pavilion number came in really close, remember? And we said engineering fees and all of that are gonna be high because just where they're in that water area potentially, so
Right.
Yeah.
that 9,000 could disappear quick is all I'm saying. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I like your idea, but whatever the board wants.
I mean, just as long as we mark it on here, that, it needs to be reevaluated next year.
Hey, Jay, are you gonna put those 3 bullets into the plan, or is that
Yeah.
too detailed? I
No,
don't know.
I can put them in. It's what we have.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, I have CIP presentation from the school district. I see Dr. Jetty in the audience and a member of the school board. Do you guys want to come forward or introduce yourselves?
I'm gonna present on the screen, because I'm not sure exactly what's gone out, and I don't know
It used to be that, but did you ever get that working, Jay, when we were trying to do presentations?
The other,
But you know, I think
could
John
not get
Burdell
it.
is here.
I could not get it
Oh,
working
good.
at the planning board.
We've tried to use that.
There it is. So, maybe I can check
Can
with
you
you,
email
Mr.
that out?
Croto. Pardon?
I can't read that.
I can share it.
So if I may, what got shared with the committee? Because I'm not sure. We had tried to share this a while ago, and I'm not sure if it got updated, or I don't know what you have.
I think this, I don't think we shared the most recent update.
Yeah, I don't think the most recent.
Yeah, I don't have this.
You probably was the older version, but,
So I just shared it with everybody.
okay.
Perfect, thank you for that. So I'll just walk everybody across what we put together here. So, the capital plan that we're proposing is more or less very similar to what we had proposed the last time. There's some updates, and essentially we've taken some items off of the plan because they've been completed by the project at LMS. And then we've updated numbers relative to other projects of the school. So, so it really is kind of just a refresh in that sense. So I'm gonna start, I've lumped them by priority area, so there are 3 that are labeled urgent. And urgent are all tied to Griffin Memorial School. Basically, the plan of the school board is to present a warrant article this March, asking to purchase a piece of land in Litchfield for a new elementary school. That's after we did an exhaustive process last year, looking at options, and the ultimate decision from that was to buy a new piece of land and to build a new school on that piece of land. So the $500,000 will allow us to have the voter approval, hopefully, for that piece of land. And that'll be in front of the voters in March of '23. And then to have a new school project in front of the voters in March of '24. So that's a 1-year delay over what we had originally planned. But it's a $35 million ask that we're planning to put in front of the voters in March of '24. This also will allow us, the state board is meeting, the state school board is meeting on Thursday. They have a prioritized list of 17 projects in the state of New Hampshire that are going for school funding. We now know that we are ranked number 5 on that list, but we don't know exactly where that falls. I will tell you, if you go through the list, our school is highly recognized as being in need of life safety repairs, and so it ranks well. Where we don't rank well, and the reason we're 5 out of 17, is because the property wealth in Litchfield is working against us compared to other districts where there are more free and reduced lunch students. So the number 1 ranked school got 200 points in the free and reduced category. We got 0 points in the free and reduced category. They beat us by 100 and something, but it's because it is a town that does not have the property wealth that we do. So it's not the merits, the state, in my opinion, is recognizing the merits of what we need to do at Griffin. It's just that there's a ranking process, and that's where it ends up falling.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, just a clarification.
security.
The access to the
Yeah, I just emailed you
spreadsheet,
too.
it says denied.
'Cause I don't know if it was
So
just me.
I don't know.
We'll update the sharing.
No, that's fine.
Business here. There we go. Now you go. There you go.
Oh, you can see it?
No, I just needed to.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like, Kim's got special access.
And the third thing that is ranked as urgent is the repairs that would be necessary at GMS if the community were not to support the new school option. We've gone through pretty extensively what we need to do in order to address the deficiencies that exist there. And we're estimating the cost of those to be $25 million. And we have those on the warrant for March of '25. Should the warrant article fail, then we would have to have a deep community discussion about whether it's a new school for 35 or whether it's repairing the existing school for 25, because it is a pretty substantial ask to remain on site and in the current building. So we would have to do renovations and repairs to the existing building, and that's on there at a $25 million ask. So what's urgent? Everything tied to GMS. The school board's hope is to purchase the land this year and then design and have the community support an elementary school the following year, hopefully with some state building aid being available to us.
Do we have any idea what that amount of aid would be?
What we've applied for, Pete, is $10 million roughly. It's like 9 point something.
Okay.
So it would be
call it 10.
approximately a third of the cost.
10 from the state, maybe.
But that's, the funding mechanism for school building projects is very complicated. You get your rank ordering, and then it depends on what other communities do. So schools that are ranked above us, if those communities don't support a bond project, then we move up in the list. So it's all, it's really, it's not like the old building aid program when Campbell was built, which more or less you qualified and you got the money. It was like a guaranteed
Right.
amount. That's no longer the case. So it's
Is
an
the-
application
Is the
process now.
funding like an all or nothing, or could they prorate that? You asked for 10, but could they say you're getting 5?
They could. And basically, that's based on the pool. They allocate $50 million, and it goes in rank order
I see.
to the community. So, you know, if we qualified for a portion, or if we qualified, I should say, if our number comes up, but there's only $6 million left in the pool, you're gonna get the 6 million.
I see.
You're not gonna get the full 10. So again, it's very complicated the way it plays out.
What's the time frame for them to determine this allocation?
So the state board is due to approve the list on Thursday.
Oh, this week, okay.
This week, yeah.
Okay.
And then you have to wait to see what all the other communities do. So it really depends upon what communities 1, 2, 3, and 4 do. That allows us to know where we stand on it.
So if we're 5 and there's, say, $2 million left, do we have the opportunity to waive that year and be number 1 the following year?
It's not that simple, because this is a 2-year biennium process. So if we, in year 2, waived it, we go back into the pool, but somebody else can get ranked above us again, because it becomes a new pool. So you could say, let's hold off and see what happens. But if another more pressing project comes along, you get bumped down. So it's not as simple as we just kind of hold our spot and go forward. It all depends on what the pool ends up being in the next biennium.
Are you likely to know going into a warrant article in 2024?
Well, we'll have a better chance of knowing, because we'll know what did or did not pass in
Right.
23. So that certainly, that factors into it.
I made a copy, which I believe everyone should have access to now.
So we don't have an idea going into March, because people could say, oh, I'm in support of the idea only if I have funding, so that could affect whether or not people actually support purchasing land. Because that'd be 500 grand potentially that could go towards a renovation if we buy land that we later decide we can't build on.
Yeah, that's possible. I think when the voters see the opportunity that's presented in front of them, they'll weigh that on its own merit. Land is not easy to find in Litchfield, as we know.
I appreciate that,
So-
but I think you underestimate the importance of state aid. And so if people see that the chance of getting state aid is slim to none, that could impact whether or not they decide to support the land purchase, is my thought.
Yeah, that is a possibility, or people will see the wisdom of buying a piece of land now that's only gonna cost more in the future, with land rates being what they are, and say, you know, eventually we'll figure this out in terms of building aid thing. So it's kinda, but isn't that up to the voters and not us?
I just wanna make sure the voters have all of the information available to them when they make that choice.
There will be a press release about the land?
Soon, yeah.
Soon?
We're working on that. Any questions on our urgent GMS requests?
Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Jennings?
I would just question, how do we arrive at the various numbers? 35 million, 25 million, like, what's the backbone of those numbers?
Yeah, so the backbone is the report that our architect has done. So the $35 million is supported by his calculations based on what he heard from the community sessions that we had all last year, the size of the building, the square footage, et cetera. That's how he arrived at the $35 million price tag.
And does that include consultants' fees, balancing, closeout,
That's
all that other stuff?
all included. And then the 25 million is again his estimate of what it would take to address the deficiencies of the current site and the current school.
Is there a report we can see? Because I'm very interested to see how we
Oh,
got
yeah,
to
we
25
we
million.
presented all that to the public.
So where would I find it then?
It's on our website, so we'll get you that report. But
I
it's all backed up with the architects. There's 185-page feasibility study that includes all of this.
I know how to read them, so I will be happy to do that. Thank you.
Perfect.
What's the 125, that's the architectural fees for this year and next year on line 4, and then on line 6, it's 100K and then 125? Is that a continuation of that?
So those are set-asides that we intend to put into the project fund. So we've been asking the voters for the 125 to go into the capital improvement fund, and so the intent is to continue to put that aside, and ultimately, that's been used for the architect's fees.
Okay.
So arriving at these numbers, applying for building aid, we had to pay for that work, obviously, and so that's how we did that. So let me go on to the next two subject areas. So these are listed as priority, which is one category of less urgency, if you would, in the capital planning process, but the first one is district-wide capital repairs. So we know that we need to continue to invest into our schools. The community appreciates Campbell as the newest school in the school district, but the newest school is 22 years old, and there are system failures beginning to occur there. Mechanical, heating, ventilation, et cetera, that's 22 years old are going to need repairs and upgrades. And so our intent is to continue to put the funding aside toward those capital repairs.
Was that not part of the ESSER funding and COVID funds doing mechanical upgrades within our buildings?
Yep, and we use those funds at the middle school as part of that project, so.
There was no work done at the high school?
There was some money from those funds dedicated to the high school. But again, they addressed deficiencies and repairs that were necessary, but planning for future needs, because again, the systems are now 23 years old, and as they continue to age, they're going to need continued maintenance and repair. So our intent is to put that money aside toward those projects.
So it looks like we were a little bit off on the key ranking. We thought the second one was priority, but it looks like it's committed. So just kind of swap them out for that.
And then the other committed or priority ranking project is LMS. And so here we're addressing pavement, parking lot, access road, and underground piping. So the LMS renovation project allowed us to address all of the building needs and to make sure that we have the classroom space to not have the portables out in the parking lot. So the portables have been removed, and the renovation project is allowing us to address everything in the building. What remains to be done is outside site work. So underground stormwater drains, et cetera, are all failing. The pipes have all rotted. They've undermined the parking lot in a couple of cases where it's collapsed in on us. We had the sinkhole for the main road that let go because of that. So really, the entire parking lot needs to be redone. We need to dig it up, replace all that underground piping to make sure that the water, stormwater runoff is able to be properly removed from the property. And then the parking lot, there's some grading issues there. If you've ever kind of left the school, you'll notice it's all downhill toward the parking lot, and it's just eroded. I mean, the sidewalk is pulling away from the front roadway. The curbing is a tripping hazard. There's a lot of issues relative to the outside site work that needs to be addressed. And so that money is allocated to address all of that underground work that needs to be done to completely finalize that project at the middle school.
And that's to be done by warrant article? Is that what your funding source?
We intend to ask for that as a warrant right now. That's correct.
And what is that? I can't read that. What is that figure?
It's $555,000.
And how old is that school, please?
So the building opened in '85, I believe.
Do those plans include any option to provide secondary access to that parking lot?
I thought it did, yeah.
One way,
Access road.
right, one way in is a security issue,
Yeah. Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, regardless of whether or not parent-teacher night gets
And
backed
that
up.
road's way too narrow for two pieces of fire apparatus to get
Right,
on.
well, that, yeah, and if one gets blocked, you'd like to have the opportunity to evacuate in a secondary manner, so whether or not that price includes installing a
We did
secondary
discuss it,
exit.
and I think it did involve secondary
I-
egress.
I'm reading the note field, and it does talk about the emergency access, so, so we would also need
And it
to
would be
address that.
locked, yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions?
All right, so the next category that we ranked was necessary, so this is our third tier from the school. And so, under necessary, we have CHS energy efficiency projects. Again, taking a look at the mechanical systems at Campbell and deciding what we need to do in terms of upgrades to those. We know that we're gonna have to have an infusion of funding in order to address the mechanical needs at the school. So you can see that in March of '26, we have a dollar amount that we've allocated toward doing that kind of work.
So it's a one-time appropriation.
It's a one-time appropriation is the way we've listed it here. Next, at LMS, the gym floor. So again, the building now is 40-plus years old. The gym floor has been sanded and refinished to the point that it can't be sanded any longer. The floor is just too thin. The life of a wood gym floor is about 40 years, so it has lasted as expected. And so we've included on here a repair or a replacement of that gym floor. And what's the dollar amount?
125,
125?
127, 28.
There's an issue with termites?
Yeah.
Termites have eaten through the patches of the wall?
Yeah, we have termites coming through the floor. They've actually chewed their way up through. It was too thin, they could get up, do it. The next thing under necessary is LMS field work. So the board's intent is to build in the front of LMS. So after the parking lot is done, the gym floor has been replaced, we want to put the fields at the middle school that would be necessary for future athletics. So envision sort of beyond the parking lot in the land that we own on the upper plateau, if you would, before you begin to go down toward Griffin. There's plenty of space there for a multi-purpose field. So envision a baseball field and a softball field with a soccer field kind of running diagonally through the outfield so that you can utilize one in the fall and the others in the spring. And there's plenty of land there in order to do that. So it would involve site work with the woods that are there, but knowing that we will have, by this time, hopefully, the voters would have supported the new elementary school project, and no longer would we be hanging on to land out there for an elementary school, which is part of the reason why I think the district never moved forward with the fields. And so this would allow the use of the fields, or the fields to be built there in front. And then the last item listed as necessary is Campbell High School irrigation. So Campbell's fields are beautiful. You know, the multi-purpose field, the baseball field, the soccer field, the track, all those fields are very nice for the community to be able to use. But the irrigation has failed, and so we need to get the irrigation upgraded in order to make sure that our athletes are able to continue to play on those fields. When it was put in 20 or so years ago, they used the wrong type of piping. It was inferior piping that was utilized, and so it's been springing leaks all over the place. We're constantly finding leaks in that system and needing to repair and upgrade it. So that is something that we have on here as necessary to be addressed down the road.
Okay. Anybody have a question?
So when we created this, we didn't know that the key kept going, so we thought desirable was the last thing that we could have an option for, but it looks like there's deferrable, research, and inconsistent. So I don't know if we would have chosen a different label for the last two that we have on there.
So the last two are, I mean, honestly, the ask is to get it on a piece of paper. If it's something that people are talking about, get it on a piece of paper. But if you look at what we're trying to address with failing parking lots, infrastructure that's failing, an elementary school that needs to be replaced, it feels a little bit out of sync to be asking for a stadium turf field and stadium field lighting. And that's why they have the lowest ranking on here, because the board recognizes that these are so low on the priority list compared to a new elementary school, compared to fixing the parking lot, compared to district-wide enhancements that need to be made. However, there are people in the community who have asked us to explore a stadium turf field. They have asked us about lighting. They've talked about the fact that facilities like that bring a community together and allow people to have a place to go and to cheer the teams on and so forth. So they're on the list as items that we recognize are expensive, but they still need to be on the list as something that we hope to maybe someday achieve. And so you can see a $2.4 million warrant article for a turf field, and you can see $390,000 for stadium field lighting. But again, those are low ranked and are purposely kind of lumped together at the end of the project.
So my question with regards to lighting is whether we've talked to the neighbors abutting the property, because my understanding is that when the field went in, there was a discussion regarding lighting, which means that it wouldn't be on this list based on the outcome of those discussions many years ago. So I'm just curious if we've touched base with those people recently.
I think we're at that point.
Okay,
So low on the,
okay. I just know that people are gonna see that and be like,
Of course they
whoa,
are.
we had a discussion when that field went in about stadium lighting.
Same thing at Sawmill. People don't want lights on there because they think it's gonna light up their house. I get it.
I just, from your perspective though, just good neighbors, like, have we already, before we put this out there and tick off some people, have we had those conversations? So
So
PR, I'm just guiding, advice regarding PR of your list, that's all.
no, I appreciate that. So the lighting discussion that I've seen was relative to the parking lot lights, to make sure that parking lot lighting is configured in a way that doesn't shine on the neighbors' houses. When the parking lots at Campbell were constructed, there were intentional tree lines left along Albuquerque to provide some shading of the lights coming from the parking lot toward the houses, et cetera. So, you know, we don't want spotlights shining across the street kind of thing. So all of those are part of the lighting conversation that has been explained to me. But certainly if we ever get to any level of this being a serious discussion, we would obviously have to revisit with the neighbors regarding that lighting question. You know, we do, Continental very generously donates their road pavement lighting for one game a year. Temporary lighting that we bring in, generator based, we have that game under the lights. And that has not generated concern. Nobody in the community that I'm aware of has raised concern over temporary lights once a year.
I think there's a difference between once a year and every Friday night. Whether people want to become Friday night lights might be very different than homecoming. No, I'm just telling you that I've heard conversations when this came up saying, we had this discussion, we need to revisit it.
So
That was probably before
we-
my
we
time
can-
and your time.
we can revisit that. I mean, it's,
It's not
Again,
on the radar at all at this point. It's just a wish list.
No, I appreciate that, but I'm just warning you that if people see your list and like, well, it's just a PR issue, just something to be concerned about.
and then if I can just quickly walk the committee through the last items on the list. So Campbell High School pavement, we've been addressing repairs to the pavement and have utilized some student parking fees and some maintenance funds that we have. So our feeling is that that was on the list last time and it's now been completed by the work that we've been able to do and are able to continue to do under the operating budget. LMS Energy Efficiency Project, that's come off the list because the voters approved the project at the middle school. And so the energy efficiency has been addressed through that project that's still ongoing, but will be wrapping up in the near future. LMS renovation of kitchen, that also was incorporated into that project, so it's now off the list because it's been accomplished through the the project that was approved by the voters last March. That will actually be completed this summer coming up. Kitchen, you talk about supply chain issues, and it seems like one of the worst things is industrial kitchen equipment. That is way delayed, and so basically North Branch is gonna be pulling out of the project mid-January and then returning it in the summer when the equipment is actually available. So that will be done. It'll be done under the project, but it won't be completed until summer. GMS gym bleachers, they were on the list originally as a complete replacement. We had a company come in and do an overhaul, upgrade, and repair. CHS, I'm sorry, CHS. And so that's off the list now because that has been taken care of. They don't need to be replaced, they've been repaired. And then finally, LMS additional classrooms, that's also addressed by the LMS project. So we were able to remove the portables, we were able to renovate the locker room space, reclaim space, and then based on our enrollment projections, the school is sized to be able to have all the students going forward into the future. So we were able to avoid having an addition put on the building for $1.5 million because the renovation project has captured the space that we need going forward. So those items you should be pleased to know are now off the list with the items above to address remaining issues.
Okay. Any questions?
So I guess the only question I have is, the way these columns are tallied, they're tallied straight down. What's the pay schedule look like for option 1 and option 2 for the school at the $35/25 million? Bonds, or what's the payment projection plan?
So both of those would have to be bonded projects.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both labeled as municipal bond.
Okay. 20-year, 30-year? Do we know?
So, yeah, I think to that point that it'd be better, or it makes, from my opinion, to make the numbers look more reasonable if we saw the annual cost
Yeah.
projected, because it's not gonna be $35 million in that year. It's gonna be 1/20th or whatever percentage you do. Otherwise, I'm gonna see this, I'm like, yeah, no.
Sticker shock.
Yeah, no. So, but if it's, $1 million a year, well, now we can talk, but if it's 35 million in a year, I'm like, yeah. So I think you need to figure out what you project your annual payment to be, because otherwise, that's the intent of this, right? What is the annual cost of your items? So, yes, it's a $35 million bond, but what's that gonna cost on an annual basis? That's the number, in my opinion, that should be plugged into.
Well, there's 3 vectors though, right? There's if the school goes through
Right,
as intended,
okay.
or the repair of the school, and then the grant money or whatever the state funds are.
Right.
There's three different paths this money projection
Sure,
could look like.
option 1, option 2, option 3, but it'd be nice to see the.
No, I know,
annual
but I mean, that's
cost.
what I'm looking at it and I'm plugging in numbers here and I'm like, huh. That's
What I
gonna
would,
be ugly.
what I would probably do is, assuming it made sense on your end, school district's preferred option is the new
Right.
school.
Yep.
So I would plug in the new school, probably assuming a 20-year bond, unless you tell me different.
Yeah.
We would include the GMS renovations, but we wouldn't put the numbers in.
Right.
Because that's not the preferred, but we'd
Right.
also describe it in the text to explain that that's the
Yeah, we just have an offset
Add all.
variance and then.
Right, and then we'd also add that
Total.
school aid, school building aid could reduce that capital cost, but feels like putting a number to that now.
No, but we
Just
just need
seems
to notate
premature.
it, right?
But we could make the note that it could bring down that cost.
TBD.
And
It very well
that,
could be zero.
Rebuilding, we need a
Yeah,
place
so
to
I
put the
guess we-
kids
we
while
just
we're
don't know what that is
renovating
gonna
the
be.
existing building. Are we gonna have a trailer for them?
No. So Liz is asking the question, if the renovation option is what we end up doing, what they would do is they would phase it, so there would
Just
be
like
new
LMS.
construction built, and then students would occupy the new construction while they demoed the parts of the building that would come down. So it's sort of like so the 30s building is unusable now, because it doesn't meet any life safety and ADA codes, so.
Yes,
But
but
it's a
good luck
historical-
knocking that one
Well,
down.
there's-
No,
no,
I
no,
love
no,
that
no,
one.
I think.
You will really
Carrie, we,
I
Kick
love that
off.
building.
Ha-
I
a
love
lot
that
of-
building.
Carrie,
I'm with
Carrie,
you.
we know that. So let me
Alright.
just, getting ahead of yourself, so let me just explain.
There's a new plaque coming.
So
too.
what we would have to do is we would have to renovate that and make it usable. You can't just have a closet that everybody loves, right? So we have to turn it into something that's usable. And then the fifties edition is the really bad construction that would need to come down. And then we would have to try to figure out how to do all of the groundwater mitigation, and I mean, it's pretty substantial. But to Liz's point, we would not have a farm of portables out there, while we were doing this. They would have to phase it in a way that would allow
And
it to be done.
the old building will never leave. That, to me, that's Litchfield.
I'm
That
not
is Litchfield.
opposed to the idea, but I know that you will anger half of the, so it's one of those, that's not a hill I'm willing to die on.
No, there are people in town that went to that school. It's so important.
Yeah, but to Dr. Jetty's point, it's a storage building.
It's beautiful though.
Because it doesn't meet life safety and ADA code.
Yeah.
So you can't put people in it.
Well, the intent
So-
was that it was gonna be used for storage, when we got rid of the portables out back that were storage containers.
And it is.
Yeah.
And it has really cool fountains and furnaces and stuff in there. I love it.
Oh, I don't disagree, but I was like, we could take the front off, stick it on the back of the building as a facade, call it a day. Fill in the
You're hurting my heart.
it's not an argument I will win. I appreciate that, but that's why I know if you threaten to, if anybody gets wind of,
So I just think there's no win to be get here, because actually our intent is to build a new school on a new site, and somebody will find a use for that building. So we'll play that when it comes. But I think your suggestion, Jay, to sort of parse that out on the new school thing is the one that makes sense. The other thing that makes it a little bit difficult to project is interest rates. What are they gonna, I mean, everything's gone so haywire, and even when we talk about what could have been done under a 20-year loan or a 25-year loan, now might be a 30-year loan by the time you're done factoring everything in. So if you have a way to project all of that, knowing that it's literally a projection, and we'll have to, in March of '24, when we know what the economy and the situation is, we'll make the right decision and put it in front of the voters.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all we can do at this point is project, and you're right. You know, things are so
Like if
so
you-
in flux all the time.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Oh, and just one other thing, the priorities you guys put on here, those are for us. You guys can set whatever priorities you want from a naming convention. I remember seeing that in your meeting. You guys were asking what those meant. That's our key for how we prioritize things when we review this. You guys can set whatever you want, critical high, medium low, whatever.
Yeah, we had
It's just
set it
more
up
so
with
we
high,
understand-
medium, low, but we thought it would be easier to keep it consistent.
I know, but it kind of messes us up because you need to do you, we do us.
Fair enough.
We just need to know what your priority is. I mean, we can interpret it, but it's just,
Well, you now know there are 4 general groupings, right?
yeah.
From the most urgent to the lesser.
No, and that's fine. It's
However
just,
you interpret it.
I remember I saw that, I was watching one of the meetings and I saw part of it and they're like, what does this mean? And I'm like, I gotta go look at the key because I don't even remember what it meant.
Shoot us an email next time. I'm always checking the email. I want to thank you all
Well,
for letting us come
It was
tonight.
after the fact.
Sorry.
Well, we thank you for coming, and good discussion, good presentation.
Thank you.
Great,
Reach out anytime.
thank you.
All right.
Liz
thanks.
McDonald, also known as E. MacDonald.
So noted.
Go by your nickname and people forget what your real name is.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
For coming.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's actually not even 7 o'clock.
All right. Next item on the agenda is item G, that's NRPC. Jay.
So not a whole lot to update. Everybody did get a new spreadsheet. Really, the only difference between this one and the one you saw before is that the IT equipment purchases got moved to police department from general government. Otherwise, it's all the same. We still have water improvements hanging out there. I don't know if we want to keep that because there's no dollar amount. Like that was Kim's request.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from the board yet, but I can check with them on the 14th. Or earlier for you, if
I
you'd
mean,
like. Let me just
ultimately,
check
the
it.
board makes the decision as to
Yeah.
where they're spending the
I can
ARPA
just,
funds.
let me see. I'll get back to you on that tomorrow.
Okay.
They haven't had any activity, so.
Otherwise, that's it.
So, we've heard from the school, obviously. I don't know, are you gonna put that in, add that
Yes.
into the spreadsheet?
Yes,
and,
I'll plug that in and send it out to everybody.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, next item H is public input. Is there any public input? The second public input of the evening. Okay, seeing none, I will close public input. Any other business this evening?
So I guess my question would be, now that we have information from the school, will we be able to update the impact fees? I just know that we have a lot of development on the horizon, and it really kills me every time we put into development at the current impact fees, because we're leaving money on the table.
Yes, we will.
So please, please, can we get those updated?
Because once it's in the CIP,
Right,
and
awesome,
that's official, and then we can use those numbers.
perfect, love it, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Kim, do you have anything, or?
I do not.
The town, or any other updates about department heads?
We do not.
Kim, do you have anything?
When do we go in front of the planning board? Isn't that coming up?
I believe it's the 15th of
Yeah,
November.
15th.
So are we
So
supposed to
I'll get
already
this
have
out,
this
I'll update
prioritized?
this and get this out to everybody, by the end of the week.
Okay,
So we have
So we're-
select board on the 14th and then, and then planning board.
right.
Okay.
Before the select board.
But by that time, are we supposed to have this already prioritized? Or just the ARPA money identified?
Well, we do need to have it prioritized before it's finalized, so
So
it's
we're,
really the will of the committee when you want to do that.
Yeah.
but I'm just saying we're running out of time with the planning board on the 15th.
Another meeting?
Another meeting.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
my
I think
point.
that may have a possibility, because, yeah.
Well, I mean, if Jay gets the numbers set up and then we take a look, I mean, at least we can be ready for the conversation.
Right. How long do you think that will take, Jim?
I'll try and do it tomorrow.
And I don't wanna.
I'll try to get the bond numbers to you by like tomorrow midday or something.
Okay, all right, so that'll be my goal. I'm not gonna promise it, but my goal will be to get it to everybody.
No, that's
Fair
fine.
enough.
I mean, cause I just,
You need to see the picture, yeah.
yeah, oh, yeah,
Right.
that, and I'm just concerned about the time frame we have,
No, I get it.
cause,
So I guess
We only have a few days, right? Really?
So wait, we're meeting?
yeah, cause the 15th would be, what, next Monday or
I don't know
Tuesday?
about the
15th is
roller
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
Monday's the select board.
So,
And CIP presents to the select board on Monday, is that correct?
that was the plan, the
Right.
14th.
So you'd either have to do another meeting later this week, or you'd have to do something in the daytime.
See
Yeah,
if
or
the
we're gonna have
room's
to push out.
available. We just look at meetings that are in this room or the
Or
other
you
room.
push it out, I mean, you could push it out.
That might be more preferable, unless we wanna have a meeting on the 14th to do that. And then, well, of course, we can, we'd have to push it out to the Board of Selectmen, that's the only thing.
When's the board of selectmen meeting after the 14th? Is that the 28th?
Is it the 28th?
I thought it was December,
No.
didn't it bounce? Or maybe it was that week,
Well, the 21st is the week of Thanksgiving, so the 28th could potentially be okay for the board. I
Yeah.
just don't know what they have.
It's the 28th,
It
yeah.
is the
the
28th?
20th is the next one. And what about the planning?
Yeah.
So you got the week before, the 21st, 22nd.
Well, that's Thanksgiving
That's
week.
Thanksgiving
Yeah.
week.
My kids are off from school, I could be here.
It's not actually Thanksgiving.
Well, I can be here too, but.
I'm saying, I'm actually gonna have.
Okay, so,
Well, not everybody does. Some
I
people
know, I'm
travel.
saying my schedule would accommodate it. Y'all can duke it out.
I could do evenings on Monday or Tuesday that week,
which week is that? I'm
Which
the
sorry.
week of Thanksgiving.
21st.
Oh, okay, the 21st. I'm available, okay.
So zoning's at 7 on Monday, recreation's at 7 on Tuesday. Go to the firehouse.
Yeah, we may have to. So,
Would that mean you would not go to the select board on the 14th?
right. So the 14th meeting would be to do the final prioritization. And then, could we do it, and if we did that on the 14th, could we present to the planning board on the 15th?
Sure.
As long as the sheet's updated and the deck's updated.
Right,
Right.
That's you though, right? So
right,
I could,
that's,
Yeah, so
You are
can you
available.
update those things? Well, Jay
Be a
too, right?
conflict for Kim.
Kim and I,
Right.
yeah, Kim and I will be.
We
at
have a meeting
select
early that
board.
night on,
We do, I think we're
5 o'clock.
tied up after 5.
Yeah, we're, 5 o'clock we're in, right?
On which day?
That is on the
14th.
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 I mean, I'm fine with next week with us following up, because I mean, I'm just thinking
Get it
back a
done?
few years ago,
Yeah.
this becomes a lengthy process.
It does.
be efficient, come on.
It's not about efficiency. It's about shuffling and then reevaluating.
So did you, I know some people
Sticky
can't,
notes?
but did you
Sorry,
still want to do it on the 14th?
I mean, I can do the 14th. I don't
What
think
time, well,
I don't think I have anything horrifying.
what time?
What time is your meeting, Kim?
5,
5?
yeah, Board of Selectmen, we have to meet early.
Okay.
I think you're already on the 14th calendar,
Mm-hmm.
6 to 9 at the fire station.
Okay. So I guess what we can do is still meet,
Yeah, because we were already blocked off that night. anyway.
right, so we're
Oh,
pretty much,
right.
we have that. So I think we can take care, that'll,
I think that where we do it might change, right?
right.
Fire station anyway, so.
Yeah.
And hopefully if, on the 14th, if we get everything done, then we can present planning board
Yeah.
on the 15th, but we can keep that. And then it was just a matter
Some
of
stuff doing that.
scheduling for the Board of Selectmen.
Which that would be the 28th, right?
Would be the
Should be
28th.
28th.
All right,
Okay,
That
would be
works.
good.
So then are you,
That would be available for all of us.
14th, you
So-
said?
14th.
I won't be there.
Right, so Tim and Kim won't be able to make that meeting, right?
Yeah, we won't be
Because
there.
you have a select board meeting
Right,
at the
right.
same time.
Right.
All right, so does it make it the 15th?
But we should have, because Marion, you're available,
Mhm.
right? So.
For the 14th,
Marion,
15th, and
We can be there.
28th.
So that would make a quorum.
then we have the 29th scheduled,
Okay,
and I believe that was a public hearing?
That's the public hearing.
so that would be the, I mean, I know this is cutting it kind of like close, but we could do it. I mean,
Yeah, we could do it.
yeah.
That's
If
giving-
that's what you guys want to do, I mean, it's up to you.
So that's giving you one
I mean,
day.
I say we give it a shot. and
What
see
time
how it
is that?
goes.
It's just giving you one day, the 14th, to get this all.
So the 29th, I think, when we did the public hearing, we were gonna schedule it for 6:30.
That makes me
6:30, it is, it's on on the calendar
Yeah.
for
So
6:30.
that would be the 6:30.
The only thing I would say is,
What's the 6th?
we would have to put that out by Thursday to the paper,
Oh, this Thursday?
yeah,
Okay.
for the 29th, so once that's been done, that's your day.
Okay.
You
Right,
have
that's a commitment.
quorum. You're gonna be here, you're gonna be here, you're here. Yeah, you're
On
gonna
the
be.
14th?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Right.
And
just-
Marion.
Marion's
I'm not-
gonna be,
Marion too?
I will
I'm
be,
here.
She travels, okay.
I think we'll be,
Wanna make sure you can have a quorum.
yep, no, I think we do.
Okay.
Is it weird to not do it with
I
the
know,
select
I
board
mean,
member and the town administrator?
one day to
And
really
Not
crank
have
this
them
out.
in that meeting?
You-
I mean, that
What-
makes
what-
me a little,
What happened in the last year? Wasn't it a few iterations?
I don't think Troy got into the prioritization much when he was here.
Did you get it done in one?
Yeah, Troy didn't.
Did you
Yeah,
get it done
we
in one
really,
night?
it was the board that made those decisions at the end, I think, I
Okay.
recall.
I mean, Kim, you
That
can take
sounds
a
right.
look and just send notes.
So,
You could send your thoughts
so
in.
the
Yeah.
next meeting is the 14th, that's all I need to know.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just,
I definitely will.
Yes, yes, the next meeting is
so
the
the next
14th.
meeting is the 14th, all right.
And
was
it's at
already
the
the
fire
14th.
station?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the
Yes,
fire
you're on
station.
the-
At
correct.
Yeah,
6
you're
or
on-
6:30?
At 6.
All right, my calendar's good.
November 29th is the one, 6:30.
All right, got that
And we
one?
had it marked as
On
the fire
14.
station.
Good.
So it looks like the bond bank asked for 24 hours. They said normally they can get you before 24 hours notice for like, so I'll put it out tomorrow morning. We'll see when we get it, and then I'll
All right.
get it to you as soon as I get it back from them.
Great, thank you.
So we all good?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Okay, I think we got a plan.
Maybe I don't have to go to that Board of Selectmen meeting. You know, maybe I can
can
hear.
skip.
Let's see. See if we have a quorum.
Quorum's
there.
3, right?
Okay.
Do you expect it to run long? If you guys are starting at 5? Maybe we just start at
Yes,
6:30?
it's going, I would expect it to
It's
be a
gonna go
long
long.
meeting.
Long meeting, okay,
Yes.
all right.
Take a look at the agenda.
Okay. Any other business? Yes, Dr. Judy.
Member Harrison has sent along to all of you the link to the website where the feasibility work is.
Okay.
And I stand corrected, Carrie, it's 373 pages for your reading pleasure. So, the abbreviated version is 54, I must have averaged, so I apologize. But you all have that link, so please take a look. A lot of substantial work went into that.
Okay, thank you very much. Yep, appreciate it. All right, I have nothing else for this evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstained? Motion passes 5-0-0. Thank you.
Right.